Hey YouTube, I'm Brick Smith, and welcome to Forever Sorting with Kevin.
About time.
Hinkle.
Hello.
How you doing, buddy?
Hey, good. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, man. It's been hours.
It has actually.
Yeah.
It has been hours. Welcome back to another riveting episode. Forever Sorting, everybody. We appreciate.
I like to call it fun with maps.
Fun. That's for you guys for keeping track.
There it is.
No, we had a good one last time. We had a good walk, and maybe some of you, after listening, went on your own Google Map journey to go walk around the office.
Or even the Lego house or something crazy like that.
Yeah, I mean, now that we know how cool their 2D, 3D feature is, it's kind of neat.
Kevin already knew that.
I mean, I didn't. That's pretty cool. But hey, welcome back. If you guys didn't catch on by now, my name is Kevin. Welcome to Forever Sorting. If you guys want to follow me outside of this program.
Oh, we're getting right into business, huh?
We're getting right into business tonight, everybody, ladies and gentlemen.
He thinks we are.
Kevin's got a keynote to write. But you can follow me at Mr. Kevin Hinkle on social media or my website, kevinahinkle.com.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. Give it a view. And my accounts for art, if you want to follow my craft,
art
is at Mr. Hinkle Draws. And you can find my work that I share there. Bricks in the Middle, new comic series. Not new. Newest issues came out recently, but Bricks in the Middle is a comic series I create for Lego fans. You can find that at bricksinthemiddle.com or at BITM Comics on social media. And AFL Shirts is a service I run with Clutch from Bricks on the Dollar, where we create Lego-inspired T-shirts and ship them out every month. So you can find out more information about that at bricksonthedollar.com. Boom! Look at that. We're right into it.
And now I'm gonna derail it as quick as possible. No. So happy Father's Day.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. You too. Everyone. All the dads. Can we get all the dads sound off tomorrow down in the comments?
No, that's not how that works.
We do it anyway.
No, we don't do that here.
Don't do that here.
So how are you enjoying Brickwood Chicago right now, Kevin?
Oh, my keynote was great. Everyone loved it. Standing ovation.
So do we here's what I need. I need someone to record the keynote and send it to me.
Because you don't want to wait for the Beyond the Brick video.
Oh no, I'm gonna post it first.
Ooh, you're gonna cut to the chase?
Absolutely. Raw, uncut, 20 minutes.
Well, hey, we know Brickhead family will be there.
Nick, you don't watch this. What am I doing?
Well, you don't watch this program.
Reed, record it.
Reed will be there. Oh yeah, Reed will be there.
Please record it, Reed.
Hey, collecting bricks will be there.
Huh?
Collecting bricks will be there.
Oh, she'd do it for me. Please.
We'll just keep throwing names.
Yes, every one of you. Brick Trains, can you do it for me? Heather, please.
Everyone.
By the way, Heather and Brick Chains, Joey, we didn't get the answer yet.
We don't know it still.
In real time right now, we don't know the answer. That's why we're not talking about it. Sorry.
It's all right. It's all good.
We'll get it worked out the week after this. We'll probably have the answer.
Absolutely. So this is the last day. As you guys are listening and watching, today is the last day of Brickwood Chicago. If you are near, if it is within your means, come and visit. It's worth it. It's worth a trip. Just hanging out for a couple hours for today.
What do the tickets at the door cost?
I don't know. I can find out.
What?
I can find out. I don't know.
I think you should. Look, I made a scarif. Kevin says.
I'm a scarif trooper.
Whatever. I made a scarif.
Yeah, and I think if I remember correctly, if you go check out Brickhead Family on Instagram, they have a coupon code for tickets.
Oh, those are good.
And let's see, locations and tickets: Chicago, Brickworld, Chicago tickets. General admission $14.
Oh man, you can't pass that up if you're anywhere near there.
If you're in military or a first responder, $11.
Even better. And
kids 3 and under are free.
That's the dream.
So, and then the hours for today, since it's Sunday today, is 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Listen, kids, listen up real quick.
This is direct Bricksmith time.
Yeah, it is. Let's get your dad something he really wants. Take him to go see the cool stuff.
Yeah.
Besides that, that's the only way you're going to get Kevin's stuff.
Kind of.
Just saying. Just go.
Yeah, but definitely stop by. If you see me, say hi. I might still have some stuff with me by Sunday, probably.
Yeah.
That I can offer up for trade or giveaway.
Hashtag all the shows.
All the shows. And as we've already said in our quest to find someone to record, there are some of our other YouTubing friends at the show as well. So you can keep an eye out. I don't know if Butt Chop will be there Sunday. I know he'll be there one of the days.
Oh, that's exciting.
I don't know which day.
I miss that guy, man.
But Butt Chop, Brickhead family, Jigglepuff will be there. The whole family will be there.
All right.
And yeah, Reed, Hope Castle, collecting bricks, Brick Trains, Heather, and I'm sure there's a couple more people I'm forgetting that'll be there. But plenty of people, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. Every show has their pros and their cons, and they're all kind of like different flavors of ice cream. Everyone loves ice cream. It's just what your favorite flavor is. Brickwood Chicago is always almost an overwhelming experience in terms of the mocks. There's a lot to see.
Yeah.
If you wanted to just skim and just see the good stuff, you'll still take 3 to 4 hours to do it. So it's a lot to see. It's worth it. Just come out and see it for a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're missing some other groups like peoples and things. There's some people we know that we're not mentioning, but not on purpose. Folks.
Not on purpose. Not on purpose.
Hey, you want to shout out? Watch the show.
There it is. There it is.
I'll never forget.
And I mean, also, of course, there's a ton of people that don't have, they don't have huge social presences. So it's just they come out to these shows, and this is kind of where you get to see them. And and they crawl back to Flickr.
Listen. Have your Flickr. Eat it too. That's fine.
And eat it too.
Set yourself up on Facebook. Set yourself up on Instagram. Convert your YouTube. Whatever you got to do. Use your real name. I don't care what you do.
Make it happen.
Make it happen.
Make it happen. Absolutely.
Share the greatest things in the world with some of the most fun people in the world.
Beautiful.
There you go.
Beautiful. Well said.
All right, folks. Good night.
Good. Everybody, thanks for being here.
We
appreciate it. So
I'm
going to keep going with our tale.
Wait, whoa. 2 weeks or 2 episodes in a row?
I think we had them wait long enough to get right back in.
We have strung them along in a very mean, nasty way, and I'm sorry.
But as we have
all Kevin's idea.
As we have threatened before, if you guys behave yourselves, because we can always make another intro episode for 2 hours.
Dude, that was a really fun episode. I think we should do that one anyway.
I love reading the comments, and people are like, I knew it at the 23-minute mark, or I knew it at the 18-minute mark, or whatever. It's like, yeah, it kicks in.
Yeah, we did that to you. Sorry.
Yeah. So you guys, we were looking around at the maps. We were kind of looking at the campus and talking about new hire orientation and getting acclimated at the office area.
Yeah.
And I showed you guys the different buildings and where I sat and all that. But as I left off, I was still alone. Like I didn't have a boss there.
All by myself.
Yeah. And the team at that time, like you guys, again, this is a little reminiscent back of my retail days when I'm like, look at this. This is the whole staff. It's a picture of 6 people.
Yeah.
Like back then, the whole department was about people. That was it for the world. Like that was the community team for the world. And so there was a lot of justification that nobody knew what I was doing, because I wasn't coming into a department of 20 people or 30 people or 40 people or whatever. I was literally the one guy in the office who talks to adult Lego fans. So, and my boss isn't there yet. So I'm this guy, I'm like this anomaly who's sitting there in the office. So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, but I was literally setting things up. So, I mean, we were setting up bookcases, we were setting up tables and desks and chairs. Because, when you moved in, you basically got an empty cubicle. Like that's your thing. And the way they figure it all out, it's kind of incredibly convoluted. But Lego doesn't own the building, so they lease the building from a landlord. And the way Lego pays the rent for that, again, I get it. I get that it's all super convoluted, but this is how it is, and at least how it was explained to me, is the way they pay their rent for that is that each of the departments that have cubicles get charged a rent. So Lego, the company, is charging the community team rent per cubicle that they have, and they collect that money, and then Lego, the company, pays the accumulated sum to the landlord to pay for the rent of the building. Yes. You have a question?
Dumbest thing
it's
ever heard.
It's stupid. I totally understand. But but it was explained to me like that, and I'm not saying what, like multiple times, because people get upset, when you start talking to other people like, our department wants to take that cubicle over there. And it's like, okay, well, you got to pay rent for that. It's like, well, but it's just an empty desk. No one's sitting there. It's like, yeah, but that's how we do. Every space has a rent. Every cubicle has a rent, and we collected it.
Repugnant thing I've ever heard.
So I don't know how unique that is for like other companies, but that's just how it was. Yes.
Do better.
Yeah. So not only did we have a rent per and I don't remember what it was per cubicle, we also had a rent if you needed additional storage space in the warehouse. Wow. So I do remember that was $9 per pallet. So in the warehouse, you could have 6 pallets, and you could put whatever you want on the pallet. So for us and our team, we would usually put Lego products on it, and so we would have Lego sets on the pallet, and you would be charged once a month to your department, to your internal costs, rent for your cubicles and rent for your warehouse space.
That's dumb.
So when we got in, it's blank slate. Here's your space. And so again, it's an internal thing. The department has to pay the costs for the chairs, for the trash cans, for the desks and everything. And of course, it's convenient that it's all set up through, Lego will give you the site, and they say, well, you got to buy your equipment from here. You got to buy your furniture from this provider. It's all convoluted, and I'm sure this is probably standard practice for a lot of companies and stuff. But
that doesn't even make sense. Now I get buying it from a specific company. That's what we do at where I work. But but no, the COs do not pay rent for their office. The screeners do not pay rent for their office.
Yeah, and from what I was told, that's how it is in the other Lego spaces as well, except Billund. So when they were selling off the different offices during the crisis time, Billund, of course, the global headquarters where it all started, is the only place where Lego still owns the buildings, is in Denmark. So those are 100% Lego owned and operated and facilitated properties. Everywhere else in the world is not. It's just Lego's operating in somebody else's property. So whatever. So we were setting it up. It was kind of cool in a way because you get there and it's like this empty land, and you're setting up a table. Some of the stuff was set up for us. There was facilities employees that do that.
I have a question.
Yeah,
it's legit. It's a legitimate question.
Okay.
What did they do before you guys? Why were you guys it sounds like you were embarking upon this arduous journey that no one had ever done before.
Right. Well, we weren't the first. So, before, I think I may have mentioned it briefly once or twice, but before either of us, before Jim or myself, the community manager for this region of the world was a guy by the name of Steve Witt.
Yeah.
He was the community rep. And before Steve, there was somebody by the name of Jake McKee. And Jake and Steve had worked together briefly, but then Steve was on his own. Jake had left the company.
So where were they, though?
They had a desk. Okay. It's difficult for me to completely tell you because I had almost a year apart between when Steve left and I was hired. So, there was a full year of who knows what the heck was going on. But when I came to the office, I was told by other people in the office. They go, "Oh, you're the community guy. Yeah, we used to have one, I think, but we never saw him." So I guess he wasn't in the office a lot, or maybe he was traveling a lot, or whatever.
Maybe he was just sitting at the house a lot.
Maybe.
Maybe.
And Jim told me when he finally got to the office, when he moved to Connecticut and started working in the office with me every day, there was a time when we went out to the warehouse and there was one pallet, and it had like 2 banker boxes, the filing banker boxes.
Yeah.
And that was supposedly Steve's desk. And so he said, I don't know what's in it. All I know is that when he left, HR packed up his desk and it was the equivalent of these 2 boxes.
Wow.
And so, I mean,
paying rent for those 2 boxes when they
we were. I mean, the community. So that was coming out of the Danish cost center. And so,
crazy.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah, believe me, this is the kind of stuff that this is the stuff. Everyday talk in the corporate environment is like, oh, how much are we paying rent for that cubicle? So.
Wow.
I went through the banker boxes because I was supposed to. That one day, that was one of my tasks. Was Kevin, please go out to the warehouse and go through Steve's old stuff and see if it's garbage, if it's stuff we're supposed to keep.
Sure.
And it was kind of interesting. A lot of it was trash. Like it was old notes that, handwritten notes.
Yeah.
So I was like, we don't need that. I did find some interesting things. I found some program guides from some of the first brick fairs ever, and I was like, that's neat. Before. Once upon a time when it was just Brick Fair, not Brick Fair Virginia or Brick Fair Alabama. It was only Brick Fair because there was one Brick Fair. Found a couple of those. I found some interesting stuff that led me to believe okay, this is a really interesting role that I'm in, because information about not secret stuff, but product development images. And I'm like, okay, is this something I'm going to get access to as part of this?
You got excited. You were like, that's great.
So I was like, this is kind of interesting. Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
So information they would pass out to be these are some of the new products next year. At this time, they're old now, when I'm looking through it, but it's stuff okay, very interesting. But yeah, a lot of it was garbage. So that stuff I just tossed out. But eventually Jim finally moved and we settled into a routine of coming in together. And we actually didn't work the same time. So my normal shift was actually, when I first got there, it was 9 to 5. That was what I did. I worked 9 to 5 and he did 7 to 3.
That's my shift. I love that shift.
Yeah. And not that he has to explain anything to me. He was my boss, but he was like, I'm going to do 7 to 3 just because I have a lot of Denmark meetings and they're in the morning for us because it's afternoon for them. And over the years, I found out, to be brutally honest, how inconsiderate Denmark is towards American time zones.
That's nice.
And I mean, I don't know how else to say it. They just aren't. They're not very considerate. A lot of times they would ask me, to just move it a little earlier, just a little bit more earlier, because it makes it more and more convenient for them. Because, I get it. Nobody wants to have a meeting first thing in the morning. Nobody wants to have a meeting when they're in the last hour of the day. But of course, let's make sure the Americans can get all the most inconvenient times ever because it works for us. And I'm not saying this out of I'm saying this out of years of experience, and not just that, but years of me and my fellow Americans voicing our concerns over this. Hey, I don't mean to be rude, but I kind of don't like meetings at 5 a.m. And they'd be like, yeah, but and they'd always give us these reasons why we need to accommodate. And it's okay, but whatever. So he would come in at 7 to do a lot of those meetings. And my first year and a half, what's really important for you guys to know, my first year and a half was extremely laser focused on the United States and a little bit of Canada. My job, I did 0 interaction with Denmark. I did nothing with South America, nothing with Central America, nothing with Mexico. It was mostly the United States and just a dash of Canada. And that was on purpose. Jim said he didn't want to overwhelm me. He didn't want me to dive in too hard, too fast.
Yeah.
And so, but I had no idea what Jim talked about with Denmark and what meetings they were having and what was going on. I knew he was having them. He was having them all the time. But we settled into a pretty good routine. we got along really well. I felt good because I'm like, man, I have a boss that like I get along with, and he likes a lot of the same stuff I like, and we like, get along, and we both like, we both like Marvel, and we both like video games. Like I had a lot of enjoyable times like working with him and talking to him, and we got a lot of stuff done. Yeah. We both brought very different perspectives to the role. He had definitely had a lot more full experience than me. But I had my retail background actually came in handy a lot more often than I thought it was. But it did all the time. Like I remember one of the first things was we went out to the warehouse again when we started to actually build up an inventory of products. So like to your question, were we pioneering on this thing? We really were, because Steve didn't really leave anything, and there really wasn't like a proper baton pass. Like it just was like, okay, there's the old guy's gone. We're here. We don't know what's happening, so we'll just start over. Yeah, and I mean, it's a little bit of a shame. I'm more of a fan of a proper handover, but
yeah, me too.
Whatever. So when we started to actually build up an inventory and put it out in the warehouse, one of the things one day we said, let's go out to the warehouse and just kind of take account of what we have and what our products are, so we know what we can give out to the fan community. And I remember almost, sheepishly asking, like, well, don't you just have a list of what's out there somewhere? And he was like, no. And I mean, this is when my retail, hat kicked in. I was like, you're telling me you don't have an inventory list of what's sitting out in the warehouse? He's like, no, why would I? And I'm sitting there going, man, if I didn't have an inventory list of what was sitting in my storage unit and my district manager came in, I would be raked over the coals for that. It's like being accountable for all your product and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, well, I will make us one. And so that was one of the first things I did was I made up a full inventory list of what was sitting out in the warehouse at any given time. And stuff like that happened a lot more often than I would have thought it would have. Just like, okay, experience came in. But yeah, we had a really good time, and we were, learning how we wanted to kind of really establish this new team. And it was really just me and him. That's who it was. We were the community guys in infield. There was one other person in the department at this time. His name was Lars. Lars was in charge of the entire Lego Group's social media. So the company, as a global organization, had one person that was in charge of social media, and that was him. And so when I joined the team, he never spoke to anybody, and he would sit in the back on his laptop, just clicking away, not really engaging with anybody. And I'd be like, "What is he doing?" They're like, "Oh, he's running the Lego Facebook page." I'm like, "Okay." Now that is like a powerhouse department. Like that department has probably 60 people in it. But when I joined, the social media responsibilities for the Lego Group was owned by the Lego Community Department. That was in our area, and it was one person was in charge of it.
His name was Lars.
His name was Lars. You can find him. You'll find him if you Google it. He'll come up. He no longer works for Lego. He's actually now, from what I remember, he is like a senior creative director at MTV. I think something like that. And I don't know if that means that like rolls up to like Viacom or something, but he's in whatever. So he was there. We also had what?
Is it enough about Lars? Let's go.
Enough about him. We also had a PR guy, which I thought was really interesting. So I mean, obviously Lego has a PR department. Yeah. With people that are responsible, but we had someone stationed in our department that was PR, but for community. And that was amazing. That was a very thoughtful and helpful role to have. And it lasted 1 year and was gone. And we never had another PR person in our department. But that we did have it. And he was amazingly helpful because even though he was in our department, he was still connected to the overall Lego PR engine. So like he was involved with meetings that we would normally never even have a seat at the table. And so he could bring that information and go, oh, this is happening. This major decision's coming down the pipe. This major change is about to take place. And we could actually proactively get things ready for fans to know. Instead of going, what has hit the fan today? How do we tell the fans how to deal with it? Wait, let me find out first what it is.
How do we put this fire out?
Yeah, and that was great. But yeah, when he decided to leave the company, it was another one of those "let's never fill that role again" things.
That was a dumb role. We don't need that one.
We don't need that. Yeah, and so there was a PR function. This was right when Lego Rebrick, if anyone remembers the platform Rebrick, it does not exist anymore. But Lego Rebrick was in its infancy. So we had 2 different people in the department that were working on that project in particular. And
is that all thing? Is that where you build your sets and then they send them to you?
Ideas?
No.
What are you talking about? Design by me, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah. Nope, not that. No. But sure. Rebrick was Rebrick was a contest platform. Right. It was a contest platform designed to harvest cool content that Lego fans make so that Lego can use it for their own purpose. I mean, like, I can't be more blunt than that.
So what you're saying is they were stealing AFOL and TFOL's designs.
They weren't stealing it because people were submitting it to the site.
So what you're saying is people were like, here, take all my money and my ideas.
Well, I mean, you have your way of saying it.
let me break this down, okay? And I know I don't think he's ever watched the show, but let me tell you a little something. I'm sitting there minding my own business, and Jaster did I know you don't.
I know that name. I know that name, but
Jaster did a camper.
Okay.
And lo and behold, 3-4 years later, 2 years later, I don't remember how many it was, Lego put out the Creator Camper.
Sure.
Kevin, it was almost stole section by section from Jaster.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm still a little heartbroken about that because Jaster did a great job. He's a very creative mind, and he did great work.
Yeah.
And Lego just flat out took it from him.
Yeah. So we'll get to that later in the story.
Kevin, they stole it.
So what Rebrick is it, like I said, it's a contest platform. So Lego says, hey, everybody, we have a contest. Our contest is make the coolest helicopter you can. And the winner, well, I'm just trying, whatever, a thing.
Oh, okay, all right.
Make a thing. I know, right? I was trying to think of something dumb, but like make us something. Okay, here, I'll give you you don't want a dumb example? I'll give you an amazing example. The best contest they ever did was, hey, make a stop motion film that is 30 seconds long about a minifig ripping something apart and building something with it, and we will put it in the Lego movie. And they did.
They did.
So we all have seen the Lego movie. So the scene near the end of the film when all chaos breaks out, and the citizens start fighting back, and they start going, rip up the floorboards, and they start reassembling their stuff into vehicles. There's a scene with President Business, and it zooms out, and he's looking at a wall of monitors, and he's like, what are they doing? Stop it. Stop it. You wrecked it. And like, that's what he's doing, right? He's, remember that scene?
I do.
Everything on the monitor was made by a Lego fan and submitted to Rebrick. So it's pretty amazing.
Kevin, I knew that.
Awesome. That came from Rebrick.
Nice. Kevin,
so
I didn't learn that from you.
Okay.
Just making sure everybody knows Bricksmith's on up to date.
Okay, good. So I still to this day think that was the coolest contest they did. But I mean, they also did a plethora of lame ones. Yeah, and so obviously it's a site. You are giving permission by submitting your content and clicking the little box and you put it in there. But the whole point of it is Lego's using it to harvest your cool images so they can put your cool images on social media or wherever and say, look what Lego fans do. And so that project was not really like, it was in its infancy. It was starting. And during this time, the site has come and gone, and now it doesn't exist anymore. But some of those elements were rolled up into the new Lego Ideas contest thing they do now. So there's Lego Ideas, make the products, but then there's also this little sliver that's Lego Ideas contest where you do things like they just announced one recently for the Flintstones, like make a cool Flintstones thing and you win this trophy. Huh. But it's the same concept. It's how do we harvest content that's cool that we don't have to pay for, that Lego fans do. Now, granted, the prizes, take a look at these things. The prizes are astronomical. Like they understand that the optics of it looks a little odd. Like you want me to use my time and money to make something and you give me a free Lego set. Like that's kind of lame. And you're going to turn around and use it and get X number of return on investment out of it by using it in marketing purposes. So when you look at the prize packages, it's like, hey, design something cool from Flintstones. The prize pack is every Lego idea set released for the last 3 years. And you're like, what? You're like, okay, that's kind of amazing. Usually there's also like a one-of-a-kind thing that they've made. So they like this time they have a giant bedrock trophy that has like Fred Flintstone on it, and it's like brick built, and it has a giant 2x2 brick made out of stone. They do cool stuff like that. So I think the prizes are pretty good. They're pretty worth it.
Yeah.
So that was getting ready. So there was 2 people on the team that worked on that. We also had a very nice lady by the name of Camilla, and Camilla's job was to run the Lego Inside Tour. So those of you, I'm sure, are familiar with that. It's the only official tour of Lego where you actually fly over to Denmark, pay Lego $3,000, and go on a very exclusive tour of the factory and all kinds of stuff. So that tour, when I joined, was also part of our department. So see, there was a lot of things that a lot of the fans had no clue we owned. Yeah. Like it's just like, oh, you're the fan guys, right? Like you're the community manager. You talk to the fans. End of story. What is there? 4 of you in the world? And it's like, yeah, but our department also owns the Lego Inside Tour. It also owned Lego social media. It also owned a PR component. We also, at that time, owned the Lego Certified Professionals program. So that was the Nathan Sueya, Sean Kinney, some of these Adam Reed Tucker, these people that are well known for these amazing things they build. So we had about 6 people, but me and Jim were the only Americans. Everybody else was in Denmark.
No.
And so obviously, as you can imagine, our lives kind of revolved around Denmark. It was based on Danish holidays or Danish time zones or whatever. But all this talk about Denmark, when we were getting settled into the office, this is now 2011 in August time. I was getting ready to take my very first trip to Denmark. And so I was told that we were going to have our annual meeting as a department. We have a department meeting. And surprise, surprise, it was going to be in Billund because that's where it made sense, because 6 people over there, 2 people over here, send the 2 people over there. So that being said, I was incredibly excited. I mean, I get to go to the motherland, right? This is what everyone talks about.
Yeah.
It's going to the motherland. I didn't think it was ever going to happen in my life. I really didn't. I was like, yeah, whatever. That'd be neat, but it's not going to happen. So, of course, I had to get a passport. I didn't have a passport. I mean, I was told that a few months prior. So I was working on it when I was in Texas, actually getting a passport. Like, eventually you'll have to fly out of the country, so get a passport as soon as possible. Like, okay. And we were going to our first thing. And I mean, I was so excited. One of my humorous memories is I remember Jim asking me, I think we were at the airport, leaving the airport in Hartford. And he goes, do you drink coffee? And I was like, never had it in my life. And he just laughed. He didn't even reply. He was just like, you will.
You were still a young man at that point. Yeah. I remember at 20, I don't know how old you were at the time. How old were you?
24?
Yeah, I wasn't drinking coffee at 24 either.
25? I can do the math. I don't remember. But yeah, he thought it was hilarious. I didn't really get it. I was like, I don't drink coffee. And I hadn't. We talked about in our story about me working at Walmart and drinking energy drinks and how that was not very good to my health. But never coffee. No. But also, I was never used to being that far out of my time zone before. And so Denmark, for here at East Coast time, Denmark is 6 hours ahead. That's a good chunk of time. That's a good chunk of time. So we did our flight. We flew from Hartford probably to Dulles, Washington Dulles, which is the local airport for Brick Fair, Virginia. And then we took that, and I think we went to Frankfurt, Germany. That's a hop, ladies and gentlemen. Like that's a long one.
It's a little bit.
That's a long one. And then from there you go to Billund. I mean, this is the whole flight is a long affair. I mean, this is like a 15-hour journey. And yeah, you go through customs and all that. People that have traveled international, they know. But the trip itself, I want to say was 5 days long.
Oh my.
Not quite a week. Wasn't quite a week, but Jim did some pretty cool stuff for me. He knew this was my first time to Billund. I think he was enjoying Billund for the first time. He had already been a dozen times. And I remember that first time when we were landing, that little hop from like Frankfurt to Billund, which is nothing. It's like 45-minute flight. And we're like landing, and I can see like Legoland Billund and all kinds of, like, it just looks colorful, and you're like, wow. Interestingly enough, Billund has an airport. I mean, it's ridiculous. The town is a minuscule village, but it has an airport. And it has an airport pretty much because Lego's there is why it has an airport. There are, last time I was told, and this is like 2017, there's about 4,500 Lego employees that work in Billund, which is a lot.
Yeah.
For context, infield, up to at its peak, I think had 900.
Wow.
Back when it had the factory there, when there was actually a factory in Infield, I think it was like 2,000 or something like that. But yeah, like I think 900 was the peak. And then of course the great layoffs happened. I don't know where we're at today, but there's an airport there, and it is very much to service Lego. The interesting history about Billund Airport is it was 100% started as a Lego airport. It was owned by Lego. The land was owned by Lego. The airport was built by Lego, and they had 2 like Lego branded Piper airplanes, which is why there's that Lego Inside Tour set of the Piper airplane. Eventually, they sold the land and everything to the town of Billund, and they turned it into an actual major airport because they realized we probably shouldn't own an airport. Maybe we're a toy company. Maybe we shouldn't own an airport. It's a very nice airport. It's actually always busy. From what I've been told by the natives there, that it's a major airport for like that top of Germany and all of Denmark right there, and so it's packed and full of activity. If you don't fly in there, you fly into Copenhagen. But Copenhagen I've never in my life been to Copenhagen. Copenhagen is an hour and 15-minute train ride away. So, yes. So, sorry. I was thinking. So it made more sense, flying to Billund, and it's pretty amazing. When you land, you get off the plane, and you're like just even waiting over at the baggage claim. You can find photos of this stuff online if you search, but there's some pretty wild like Lego sculptures hanging from the ceiling, like these orb planetary things that are like a odd, very wooded small town, but it's all like a giant orb and it's like a planet. It's kind of neat. So those are some things hanging. So you already know you're kind of in Lego world. There's Legoland is right there, smack dab in Billund, downtown Billund, Legoland. So it's obviously not extremely big, but it's cool. It's nice. So there's a theme park. There's a lot of buildings. There is an amazing number of office buildings and factories and stuff. I can't even tell you how many. I lost count of how many buildings there were. It was just like every building was a Lego owned building somewhere. But we got there, we landed, and I was to the point of being delirious.
Right.
Because of how exhausted and how off I was with my time. And when we landed like first thing in the morning. Like it was like 6 a.m. is when we landed. And I really was like delirious. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And he was like, you can't go to sleep. It's 6 a.m. Can't do it. And this was based on his experience traveling, Jim's experience traveling. And he's like, I'm telling you, this is the way to do it. And now you need to stay awake until tonight, because if you go to sleep now, you're going to mess your whole self up for the next couple of days. Because again, this is 6 a.m.
Sure.
And so I'm like, okay, fine. And I'm pretty sure this was a Sunday when we landed. And so that's one of the other things that I gave a lot of kudos to Jim, is that, in his mind and his work ethic and how he approaches it, if he's told, be there Monday or whatever, then he's going to travel to be ready to go Monday morning, 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. A lot of my colleagues, a lot of them don't. And so, a lot of the people I work with, it's like, okay, well, the meeting starts Monday at 9, and they go, okay, well, I'll be there like Tuesday afternoon. It's like, but it starts at 9. It's like, yeah, but I don't travel during the weekend. It's like, well, and so, these are some of the interesting things over the years that kind of popped up. A lot of kind of entitled behaviors and a lot of weird stuff like that. But, again, a lot of kudos and credit to where it's due. Jim had a lot of expectations from me as my boss. Sure. And he would always pull me aside and go, just because they do it doesn't mean I'm going to allow you to do it. And I was like, I get it. I get it. So yeah, we landed on a Sunday. And as we said in our episode a few weeks ago, the first people I ever met in Denmark proper was Megan and Mark.
Yeah.
And so Megan, as we met in one of our previous episodes, and Mark, they were both, I think at that time, working as product designers, I think. And so they greeted us. We actually hung out at their house for a little while and just kind of, settled in. But yeah, like I mentioned, Jim had a lot of stuff planned for me, which was amazing. I did have a factory tour, which I'll talk about. I think we'll go into that later.
Yeah.
But I had a factory tour, a visit to the Danish employee store, which was kind of amazing.
Oh.
Their employee store puts the infield employee store like it's like a closet. It's ridiculous. And also went to Legoland. So the only Legoland park I've ever been to is Legoland Billund, and I've been to it I think 4 times. But went there and had all kinds of amazing stuff. But I was now in the homeland for the first time, and I had coffee.
Oh, no, you didn't.
I was dying. I was like, Jim, I don't know what to do. I can't keep my eyes open. I feel like I'm going to pass out. And he's like, would you like some coffee? I was like, I guess
I would.
And so the first cup of coffee I ever had was in Billund, Denmark, and I'm still drinking it today. So
I don't blame you. I think that was a wise choice on your part.
Yeah. There's a lot worse stuff for you, right? But
Amen.
But yeah, so today is mostly a transitional story for you guys.
It felt good. Today's story felt good. I feel good about it.
Yeah, but so when we continue, on the little plane we've landed, and I'm in the homeland, so you guys get to hear all the secrets about Billund.
I'm loving this, man.
So I think that's sufficient for today. Would you say?
I think we're good. Yeah, I think that we. Like I said, I've really, really enjoyed said story today.
Very good.
And now I've taken a picture.
All right, awesome.
They don't need to know that.
They don't need to know. Well, all you guys, as always, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Yeah. If you have any questions, throw them down. Yeah. And as we've said, this is still Sunday of Brick World, so come by and see me if you get a chance.
Absolutely. That's Kevin.
I'm right here. Julian's on the other side.
You're still on the big screen. I don't know what happened. Oh, that's right. Never mind. I got it. All right.
Remember, everybody.
You
got to sort those.
You got to sort those bricks. Bye, everybody.
Bye.